Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Lessons with Lindsey Live. So, today is a very special day because I have my first special guest, Miss Kiyanni B. She'll be up here in a few moments. But before we bring her on, I do want to shout out my small black-owned business. Awesome Focus. If you can see my shirt here, they are a production company. They do virtual conferences, they do promo videos, photography, a little bit of everything, podcast. So if you are looking to start a podcast, if you're trying to have an event and making it virtual, if you need content, photo shoots, short videos, things of that nature, make sure that you hit up Awesome Focus. That is my black-owned business for the week. So now I'm going to see if I can tag Kiyanni here so we can get her in the room. Hello, everybody. Hello. There she is. Hello. Hold on. Here we go. How do I get back out of here? Invite to join. So I have Kiyanni invited. Kiyanni, you just have to accept the invite and we can get this thing started. Hello, sissy.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you did it with no problems. I knew you could do it. I have the most faith in you.
Easier than I thought.
See, look at that. So this is Kiyanni B or Kiyanni Bryan, and I'm gonna let you actually go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people what you do before we actually dive into this thing.
Okay, so my name is Kiyanni B, and thank you, Lindsey, so much for having me. I do two main things. I'm a coach consultant, and I'm a publisher. And regarding coaching and consulting, I specifically help leaders and coaches, influencers that have been impacted in their identity thrive in kingdom life and business. And then when it regards to corporate consulting, I help businesses with project management, organization, structure, and making sure everything flows the way they want it to flow in office management.
Yes, ma'am. So I wanted to bring Kiyanni on for a few reasons as my first guest. One, because you have been walking in this entrepreneurial journey for quite a while. And
Yeah.
two, because you are what I would consider a resource, somebody that someone would need on their team, especially if they're trying to be an entrepreneur, if they're trying to step into this world, because it is craziness, it's pure madness. Personally, when I met you through IG at Outback Steakhouse, I just was captivated by you. Like you were talking, and you were just so, you commanded the room, and you, like, the way you talk and the way you spoke, it was like, oh, I want to listen to her talk some more. I want to see what she has to say. Like, she is about that business, and from there, like, we just sparked this awesome sisterhood that I'm so excited to be a part of with you. I'm so glad we found each other, and we've just been connected ever since. I think that you are an asset, and I feel like your journey and your story is something that needs to be heard and shared. And then especially because of what you do, it's very necessary, because entrepreneur life is not easy in any way, shape, or form, and you need a team, and you need a skilled team. And that's really what I want to introduce to people, especially who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, who are trying to get into the world, who may be a little bit fearful or doubtful or don't know where to turn or how to start. So that's literally the whole point of these lives. So let's dive right on into it. How long have you been an entrepreneur?
I've been an entrepreneur since I crowned in 2016.
Yes.
2016.
And before that, were you part-time entrepreneur? Were you just full-time working? Did you just stop your job and dive in? How did that transition work for you?
So I worked for corporate America for 15 years, and I worked in banking and financial services, not because it was necessarily a passion, but because right out of high school, I was told that I'd be a good bank teller by my guidance counselor. I really didn't even have a bank account or know what any of that was. So I went to pursue that. And so I stayed in banking because once you're kind of in, you're in. I was doing that for 15 years. But I grew a love and affirmative affection for corporate America. And that's what groomed me. That's what showed me customer service excellence. That's where I was able to learn how to really provide service, really listen. And I kind of learned and bumped my head on a few things. In 2016, what really started was kind of like maybe about 2015-ish, Periscope came out. And I was a part of a networking group. I don't know why, because business was not on my mind. The thought process of possibly doing my own business was not even something I could even fathom or think of. I started selling insurance. I entered that sector of investments for financial services. And you know, when you're an insurance agent, you have to provide your own business. It's usually commission based and you have quota and everything to meet. So when I was doing that is when I kind of entered into the networking sector to try to meet people so that I can partner with people to build my clientele and my book of business for insurance. 2015, when Periscope came out, I was in a group of networkers. My girlfriend owns a big bridal boutique, McEllis Brides. And she was like, you know, can you teach us how to use Periscope? I had not even, I think I just downloaded the app. I didn't know what to do or how to do it or how it worked. But I literally taught a room full of people, 10 people, how to use Periscope. And I myself had not even used it. They went on to market, to thrive, to share, and to build. And I myself was afraid to use Periscope. By the time of in 2015, I kind of was listening to different influencers, confidence coaches, entrepreneurs on Periscope. It was a new phenomenon. It was amazing. When 2016 came, I said, you know what? I'm really good at writing. I love poetry and I write little things here and there. It's really cute. I think I want to start a greeting card company. So that's what I want to do, start a greeting card company. And I went to see what that entails and everything, just little inspirations and stuff like that. And I tried to work at Hallmark and they told me I was too deep, so I couldn't do that. So I was like, oh, maybe I could be the next Mahogany or something like that and call it my middle name, Shalima's Heart, which is the name of my association that's turned into a nonprofit. That spiraled into so many other things. It spiraled into blogs. And then next year, my first book. And I just kept writing and writing and writing and birthed a publisher in me in 2017, just by the desire of that. Also in insurance, what sparked too was being I had to be my own administrator for my own book of business. And I didn't have somebody directly telling me what to do. I had to build it on my own. I realized a lot of my strengths and my weaknesses, and where I kind of almost felt like a failure that I didn't do good with selling insurance. I realized that wasn't my strong suit. I was really personable. I can really build good relationship, but I wasn't really good at selling and really trying to convince people that they needed this, because I believe in financial service and legacy and generational wealth, but trying to convince them of that was a challenge. So I would partner with people who sold and were really good salespeople, and I would do all the administrative work. And so we would split that. So collaboration was something that was always in the forefront. And I knew that I needed that to be successful. So I never mind partnering with people. But as I began to network and build, I would help other coaches emotionally balance themselves so that they can go sell. And there goes life coaching, something I've always done, but now was kind of positioning myself to do it in a professional manner. There goes business coaching, showing them what to do and how to coordinate things, showing them how to do strategy, because marketing is in my blood. So it kind of started there and spilled over into a thing. I never thought it would be a thing like what it is today back then at all. At all.
But that's how it works, right? You start one thing and you think it's gonna be this, and then it veers off into something else, or a failed attempt turns into something else. Listen, that's what it is. But it's always so awesome how it always works out. Right. You know, like if you take that chance, if you bet on yourself, you usually, even if that doesn't work, whatever the initial task was doesn't fulfill, like doesn't come to life. Right. Something else spirals from it and it turns into whatever it is that you needed. So now in the 2021, yeah, what are we doing in 2021? What is 2021 looking like for you?
So what it looks like is publishing has expanded. So when I first started publishing in 2017, it was really just, I created LLC, Write It Out Publishing, really just to house my own books. I had no desire really to help anybody. I didn't think I knew enough to help anyone. And then by the end of 2017, I had 4 books, and the anthology that I was a part of became a bestseller. So then people started asking me, how do you write? You know, how do you fight writer's block? How do you position yourself? Do you publish on Amazon? How do you protect the book? So I started helping people by my own trial and error of things that I did wrong. I started showing them and really consulting of what to do. Well, all the partnerships that I grew and the personal relationships that I had, I was able to form a team. Today we are 7 strong. We have an additional maybe 5 to 6 independent contractors that work with us and partner with us. And we create what we call manifesting vision for men and women that have book projects or want to birth books with literary works and all those type of things. So publishing has really picked up. It really picked up in COVID last year. Everybody was home. Everybody said, not only am I going to read, I'm going to write. I'm going to get this thing out. I've been thinking about a book forever, and I'm just going to finally try to share my story when people had time to reflect and think. And so people begin to write. But I've really been doing Write Out Publishing since 2017. It's grown tremendously in the past year and a half, and it's really, really thriving. So publishing is on the forefront. We're in the process now of upgrading systems for expansion and preparing. It's been busy so far just in the past few weeks coming into the new year. My coaching consultancy, Kiyanni Impacts, that's being repositioned a little bit. It does business startup, branding, marketing, business coaching, business mindset coaching. Really what that's going to be is more of a group mentorship instead of the one-on-one. I did that for a long time, but I want to be able to help more people at once. So it's going to be a group mentorship. My Facebook group called The Demolition, and that's a whole ministry in itself. It's going to be leadership and just those life things that we go through as leaders and influencers as coaches, because normally I'm called to a coach to be able to kind of walk them through a situation. But all those things that we need as far as a support system as we walk through conflict resolution, how to build, who to partner with, how to discern when and what is this purpose? Am I receiving fulfillment? Is this what God called me to? Is this not what he called me to? Is it the right season and time? How do we navigate this season? I feel like 2020 at least had several seasons, at least 5 to 6 by itself.
Listen, right? Okay.
By itself, so that's kind of like this year was going on in my association, which is for kids in the juvenile domestic court system and kids in foster care. We're going to finally position it into a nonprofit. All we've done over the holidays is provide toys and coats. My team will pray for them, minister to them, love on them, kids in low income areas. But we're going to finally position this a little bigger so we can get group homes and people to come and partner with us so we can teach them life skills and prepare them for education, for the world and life as a young adult, knowing that they're not the mistakes that they've made.
Yes, I love that. You know how I feel about the kids. You know, the kids is my heart. You know, I'm like, oh yes, help all the babies, save them. But I love that, and I love the trajectory of your 2021 because it sounds like it's going to be. Words have power. It will be an amazing year for you and all your businesses. So let's talk about trial and error, right? Because that's literally what entrepreneurship consists of, trial and error. And me being this new resource liaison, this person to connect you to the people that you need to get started, who do you wish you would have got connected to when you first started into the entrepreneurial journey? What type of person?
I wish that I would have immediately been able to be connected with someone that was, for one, going to tell me the truth and be subjective to, really being transparent about what it took to build to this place that we've, God's blessed us to. I became the coach that I felt that I needed, and I became the coach that I did not have. I paid a lot of money for different mentorships and coaching programs to still be left scratching my head like, what do I do now? And I still was confused. I still didn't know what to do. It's like they led me to a certain place and they kind of abandoned me and left me. So I've been really adamant on holding people's hand all through the process. I wish that somebody would have told me how often you will want to quit. I wish that somebody told me how important it is to make sure that your first love is kept in the forefront and your passion is connected to your purpose as to why you're doing what you're doing. I wish somebody would have told me that it's not all about the money because you can hit the figures that you want and still feel empty. I wish somebody would have told me about the investments and the importance of positional branding, how important it was that everything that you're doing and speaking, that your brand speaks when you don't speak. I wish somebody would have told me, what it meant to really expand myself and what responsibility it was to be an influencer, for people to look up to you, for everything you do to be kind of scrutinized and looked at. And every time you open your mouth, you have a great responsibility to those that may be mature and or immature.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish somebody would have told me more
Yeah.
about when much is given, much is required, and that this is not just about extra streams and not just about making money, but this is about purpose. And
Yeah.
if it's empty and it has no substance, you're going to drown fast.
Talk that talk, sis. Come on. Kiyanni, if you're preaching, I don't know if y'all catching it, but this is heat right here, okay? Yes, ma'am. All those things and
Yeah.
some more, you know.
Yeah.
I want people who are wanting to get into this entrepreneurial journey, I want them to be prepared.
Right.
And I know you're never going to fully be prepared. You're never going to completely be ready. Don't worry about having all your ducks in a row. That's not what I'm talking about when I say prepared. I mean, like mentally, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, what I do with my clients right now, like our first conversation, I'm already thinking about who I can connect you with as far as a life coach, as far as a therapist or something else, because this thing is mentally taxing. You know, entrepreneurship is not easy.
Right.
And people, like, it's a trend right now, and that's kind of it's very bothersome to me that people put it out there like it's this easy peasy 1, 2, 3, get an LLC, make money thing. And it's not. That's not it at all. You have to live this thing. It's an extension of you. It's from your heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when people go into entrepreneurship, I want them to understand it's scary.
Yeah.
But there's a but, and that's my favorite part of it. But it's possible.
And it's so worth it.
And it's worth it, right? You know, it's like I get to wake up and do the things that I love. I get to wake up and I get to help people every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Like that's literally what I live to do, is to help people in any capacity. And I want people to understand that there are people out here like Kiyanni who will speak life over you, who will pour into you, who will give you the knowledge that you need, who will help you, like you said, who will hold your hand, who will walk with you, who will talk with you, who will pray with you.
Right.
Okay? Do all the things that you need. It's not a thing. Entrepreneurship is not a journey that you travel alone. Right. And I really wish that people would get out of that mindset. You do not have to be every man or every woman and wear all the hats. Like, I've worn all the hats. I want to wear all the hats anymore. Right. That's tiring, you know, that's exhausting. And so what I want people to really understand is, like, you know, you're going to fall. You're going to misstep. You're going to make some mistakes. But you'll always be able to bounce back. So what do you think was the hardest thing for you, like as you were transitioning? So like you started with the insurance, and then you switched over to, like, you wanted to do the greeting cards, and then you wanted to publish, and you had your books. So what do you think was like the lowest or the hardest thing that you had to face in finding your way and keeping the momentum up?
One of the hardest things for me was trying to really comprehend that I don't have to be perfect. And letting literally perfectionism halt me from producing what I need to produce. And if I can be completely honest, it's still something that I struggle with today. You want to make sure that you provide something well. You don't want to just put anything out, but literally you can put yourself in a position where you're procrastinating and you're not producing the way that you need to because you won't just do it. One of my favorite sayings, and I need a t-shirt that says it, is you get more as you go. And so you have to walk through it. You have to walk towards it. Vision becomes clearer when you walk to it. And so sometimes people will wait till every T is crossed and every I is dotted, waiting for them to get to a place to where they're like, you know, everything is perfect now. But you know what? That place will never come, because you will be forever getting knowledge. You'll be forever growing. You'll be forever meeting people and having experiences. There's no perfect time. So you must step out and do it. That don't mean that you offer, you know, crap. That means you are responsible in what you need to do, but understanding that it's a growing process and you have to grow through it. It was very hard because I was a full-time entrepreneur for a while, over a year. I transitioned now back into kind of like a corporate space, and I work at a university now in financial aid, back in financial services, which really was a good choice for me coming out of the season of last year because I'm going back to school. So, you know, working in the university, they'll pay for my degrees, my master's degree, my doctorate degree that I'm pursuing. But when I was in full-time entrepreneurship and kind of transitioning to that, I wish that I was better planned out. I mean, I wrote 1,000 plans as to what was going to happen, how I was going to make the money, when I was going to do it. But what I realized is that those ideas had to manifest into a clear and clean cut strategy. But that can only happen when you have some movement in the trenches. A lot of things that I was saying I was going to do, I had not even tried step 1 and 2 to know if step 3, 4, and 5 was even going to work. So it was really an unrealistic plan because the foundation of that wasn't solid. So I really struggled with that. And what that did was put me in a position where I'm like, oh, I got to make the money. Oh, I got to make the money. Oh, I got to make the money. So now I'm producing, I'm making stuff, I'm producing, I'm making stuff. I'm not really even checking in with my audience to see if that's what they need. I'm not even checking in with them to see if that's what they want. Really, you influencers, your audience helps you create. It's important to listen to them because they're telling you what they need. And at the end of the day, those of us that are entrepreneurs, we are providing a service, we are offering a solution to a problem. So if we're not listening to where they're in pain, you know, how do we know what to give them and what they need? Which is why my consultancy is being revamped, because I was offering one-on-one because that was the season for that. I was a little bit more lax than that. And I did not have so many people that I needed to touch at the time. But being that we're influencers, we're definitely world changers. So every person that we can come in contact with, we're literally offering transformation by their mind, their thinking, and what they do. So I wish that I would have been better prepared as far as, you know, really understanding that you don't have to be perfect, that you're going to make mistakes. And actually, the more mistakes that I have made have gained me more financial freedom by making those mistakes, because I was able to help people not make those mistakes and get compensated for it.
Yes, listen, the whole reason that I started doing this thing that I'm doing is because I fell flat on my face so many times, right? Lost so much money, made so many big mistakes. Like they weren't small, like I'll sweep that up. No, I was in trouble, okay? And I was like, if I can prevent somebody from doing this, if I can save someone from going down the same path that I went and making the same mistakes and tripping over the same twigs and rocks or whatever, then I'm gonna do that.
Right.
And it's not that I don't want people to learn, but like if you don't have to learn the hard way, let's not. Okay?
Yes.
Like sis, let me help you, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for you. Like let me connect you where you need to be connected. So another question. What was the moment where like the light bulb is like, oh, this is working. Like this is it. Like I'm where I'm supposed to be. What was that moment for you?
So I think the moment where I felt like it was fulfillment for me, and it was, I'll never forget it as far as being memorable. I had a time where I was coaching, doing a one-on-one session, and the response from the coachee was amazing. But really when I realized that I was called to speak and I'm supposed to speak was when I was asked to do an event as a life coach. And the thing that God gave me at the time to talk about was vision. And it was showing women specifically how to navigate in their season, making sure they're doing things in timing and proper timing. And I'll never forget that night, the way that I felt, knowing that they were different, knowing that they had been transformed, knowing that their mindsets were delivered, knowing they were completely repositioned, they were focused, and they produced fruit. Yeah. And they produced fruit. Yes. So there was good things that grew from that. It was amazing to have people come back the next year and say, you know what? I'm doing so much better now. My business grew. I expanded. I thought about this. I thought about that. And I was able to really minister to those places where they didn't have confidence. And that's why my thing had become helping leaders that have been impacted in their identity. Because these were influencers, these were leaders. They did not lack complete confidence. They knew that they had something. They knew that they were special. They knew that they were gifted. They knew what they had wasn't ordinary, but life happen, just like life comes to us every day. And they were impacted in their confidence by a traumatic experience. No matter how big or small, it was impacting to them. And then they kind of felt stuck and got in a rut. They didn't know how to move on from that point because they were still hurt, or they were still disappointed, or they dealt with great discouragement, especially when you're trying to pursue dreams and you feel like a failure, or you try to pursue dreams and fear comes in and tries to remind you of who you used to be.
Yeah.
You know, those things came and kind of hindered them from moving forward. And I'm like, you got to move on. And that's how I kind of became the coach, when I realized that I was really coaching people. Now I also have a counseling background, and I'm a mentor too currently today. But I had to realize that from where you stand right now, you can move forward and begin to push them in that way, through love, through support, through really attacking their mental thought process and attacking those strongholds that they acquired every time they got disappointed, that put them in a place where, like, you know what, I can't do this thing. You know what, let me go back and be average. Let me go back and be mediocre. And I just would not let that go. Like, you know, sometimes you need somebody to believe in it with you, you know, to kind of, you know, believe in that with you, to help push you, you know, to that place. So I really think that, you know, when it comes to entrepreneurship, it is tapping into a creativity. And it really has to do with you. You have to love this thing. You really have to love this thing, because when it gets hard, you will have to remember why. And if your motives for why you're doing what you're doing are false, fallible, you won't be able to weather the storm.
Right. That's that. Listen.
You won't be able to weather the storm. And that day, when I was able to speak to those women and to see the light bulb come on in them, is when it triggered something in me. And I knew that I had to do this. And what no one knows is what I go through every time I have to speak publicly. Every time I have to talk, they think it's so seamless because they see the lion today, but not the cat that be hiding behind the mirror. And all the needs is somebody caught her, like, oh my gosh. But I knew I was in purpose. I knew that right there. I was like, this is what, it's like God stamped it. That ride home, you know, I floated. It was like, listen, this is what I've called you to do. This is what I've made. This is why Kiyanni was birthed and born. This is why I'm on earth. And that thing did something to me that never, I just was able to really fight through hard times, knowing that this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I'm here.
That imposter syndrome is real. Okay. Like real. And I was in a clubhouse room last week when we talked about it, you know, because it's out here. Okay. And it is coming for your mentality, your thought process, everything that you thought you knew, you start to question, and you're literally lying in wait for people to think, oh, she don't know what she's talking about, or he don't know what he's talking about, or you're not who you said you were going to be. And I've even had to deal with that, and I still do deal with that, mostly because I've been told so many times, oh, you're so young, how do you know so much?
Yeah.
Because I've been through a lot. You know, like it doesn't take 55 years to realize what, like, right is right and wrong is wrong, or what works and what doesn't work. For some people it does. For me it did not.
Right.
I only had to fall once, you know. No, I'm lying. I had to fall a couple times for me to really learn, but I did it. You know, it's what you went through, is how you, and then it's what you give, what you take from what you went through.
Right.
Because so many times people get discouraged in that starting phase, like, no one is supporting me, no one is watching my lives, no one is buying my product, no one is wanting my service, or whatever the case may be. And I really want people to understand, you just need one yes.
Yeah. And also too, is our cousins, aunties, uncles, cousins, are they our target market?
Right. Please talk about it, please.
If they're not even who you're called to, then you know what I'm saying? It's like, that'll be the first rush. Whatever you do, you put up your lemonade stand, that's it. Mama, grandma, everybody's going to come and they're going to support, you know, your family, your friends, and your loved ones. And we appreciate all of that, because that does matter. That gives us the confidence and the push that we need to do what we need to do. But once that dies down, and once that settles down, how do you put this on repeat, this thing that you offer? You should be specifically going after your market. Specifically going after your market, not necessarily because of the who. Because if we focus on that and do the footwork, because it really, I think in the beginning I was lazy. I think in the beginning I was lazy. It's almost like if you build it, they will come. And you think they automatically are just going to come. They don't know how to find you. You're not even making yourself easily, presentable. You're not even positioning yourself where you can be found. And you haven't even really done the research to determine if this is even a need, or are you really offering a solution? It was a great idea in your mind
Right.
of what you wanted to do. But is this really fulfilling a need? Because if you didn't really go through the diagnostic and determine who this is for, who you can best help, what is it that they're suffering with, and be able to offer them a solution that says, hey, this will enhance the quality of your life. If you don't have this is where you could kind of end up, and begin to kind of speak to them through your marketing, speak to them and kind of hit their senses and letting them know that they need this. I don't care if it's a t-shirt or if it's lipstick or if it's a coaching service. You're letting them know that after time with you, things are going to be better.
Right. And you got to speak that you have to believe it first. No one is going to support anything that you yourself don't wholeheartedly believe. You can have the most beautiful displays, the most amazing packaging, labels all shiny and silky and everything like that. But if you don't believe in the product, people aren't going to believe in the product. I don't know how many times I've held vendor events or went to events with vendors, and I just see the people sitting there behind their table, sitting there on their phone, sitting there not paying attention to the people, the potential clients or customers right in front of their face, because they think they have such a sound product that's going to sell itself that they can just sit on the table and talk for itself. No, honey. And I will stop you. I will stop you quickly. Like, can I talk to you? Can you stand up when people come to your table? Can you put the product out so they can touch and they can feel? Can you tell them why they need you? People aren't going to know. And if you don't think that you have a good product, if you don't think the stuff is good, if you're kind of doubting yourself and second guessing yourself, everyone else will too.
You know what? And the thing about branding that people don't realize is that it's how people experience you. And at the end of the day, what is going to differentiate your chicken shack from every other chicken shack on the block is you. They want you. So that's why you have to be able to make some type of connection. You have to be able to talk to them and kind of work them through. I'm really advocate of customer service. I'm really, I can't even function if you don't try to at least try to attempt to provide some excellence or don't listen. And if you don't provide service, because, in excellence or whatever else, you don't provide a service, or even if you have a product or whatever else, I need to be able to connect with you somehow to be able to choose you. I always say social media is loud. It is each and every one of us. There's several lives going on right now while we're on live. And, everybody is talking. Everybody is fighting for their spot, for your attention. How can you just put something out there without even have prepped them, explain to them, share with them, connect with them, so that you can build a relationship with them over time where they'll continue to support.
Right.
I remember when branding first came out, it was a hot button a few years ago. We really had not talked about branding. And I think when we thought about branding, we thought about the big brands like Nike, Coca-Cola, and whatever else.
You didn't think for small business, right?
We wasn't thinking about the fact that even us individually, that us as influencers, we are brand. And, we carry our own authentic voice and our own authentic positioning. And I remember thinking, I can't really help people with that, although I love marketing. So really what God gave me was kingdom branding, where I bring people through certain steps to help them realize not only what they've been called to do, but how they can best present that and bring people into their space and explain really what their heart is saying. Because your message has to be clear in branding. We only looking at fonts, we looking at logos, we looking at colors. And even in that, if we don't do the first steps to kind of prepare for that, we will produce colors that don't even really simplify our brand. We will make logos that don't even really attract our target market. We will be doing everything and putting together what pleases us, and not for those who we've been called to. And so, and that's just a learning lesson too. Of us, by us. They want us. They want who we are. So we have to let our personality shine through. I tell people, you want to gain an audience quickly, share your personal story.
Be you. Be transparent. Be
just
real.
Share it.
People know when you being fake. They know when you're not being your true self. And even if they don't, you will not be able to sustain or fake the funk long enough. You know, it might work for you for a season. It might work for you for a period of time. But when it really comes down to it and when it really matters, you're not going to be able to rise to the occasion because you've been being somebody that's not you.
Yeah.
You know, I had to go through that too. You know, I used to hide behind my names. You know, when I was doing cakes, it's like, oh, you two cakes. Yep, I'm two cakes. And like, oh, you vision driven. Yep, I'm vision driven. No, I am Lindsey A. Okay. My name is Lindsey, and you may call me Lindsey. You know, I don't want to be known by my brands or my businesses. I want to be known for who I am, and I want people to see my heart. And so then they want to be with me or near me because they know what kind of person I am. And then they're going to want the business part. They're going to want the services. They want to know how much I charge because they just want to be where I'm at and talk to me.
Good. That's because that's true.
I
didn't realize that, but I did that too. I hid behind the name. Before Kiyanni Impact, it was called Professional Excellence, LLC. And I try to almost set myself up as this mechanical agency where people can come get services. And my face was kind of like almost hidden. It was something that was set up. You know, some business pages, you do see that where you just offer the service and you don't really see the person behind the thing. And I was set up that way. But I think that even when we do that, because a lot of us do that actually when we first start, is because somewhere deep down, we might have some type of insecurity about starting. We might lack a little confidence in that area, which is completely normal when we first kind of putting ourselves out there, because we all say to ourselves, is this good enough?
Yeah.
Is this good enough? You know, do I know enough? Especially when you're coaching, consulting, or offering, you know, advice or whatever. Do I know enough?
Right.
Is this really going to help somebody, or was it just good for my family and my close friends? So, you know, or was it just cute, you know, this t-shirt that I just did because my uncle liked it? You know, do I really have something here?
Right.
And we get past that point and we do because I feel like the fall is needed. The quote unquote failed pursuits is needed. Those things are needed. Even when we bump our head or miss it or make a bad decision or choice, those things are needed because that builds confidence in itself as long as you just keep pursuing. And moving.
The bounce back is real, okay?
Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook today, like, watch out for that person that bounces back every time. God don't play about them. And I'm like, listen to me. Let me tell you something, okay? Because we done been through some things and we done fell flat on our faces, but here we are. And it might not be right where you want to be, but it's so much further than where you came. And that's the part. And I think that's the part a lot of people miss and they get discouraged by. It's like, I've been doing all these things. I've been making all these steps and I'm still not where I want to be. It's like, yeah, but you're not where you were.
Where you weren't, right?
You're not where you started. You have more knowledge. You have more connections. You build more relationships. You have more products. Like you make your product so effortlessly now. Yeah, you might have only sold 10 and you wanted to sell 50, but you sold 10.
Right.
Can we clap for the 10? Yeah. You know, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be your biggest motivator. And then you also have to, like we talked about this before, you got to surround yourself with those like-minded people.
Yeah.
Those people are going to be the ones that really, really help you when it gets dark.
Yeah. And what you just said too was key about, you know, sometimes we get caught up in comparison. And, you know, we got to celebrate the small wins because celebrating the small wins build the momentum for the next. Every time I was able to push past something is because I had to use what I just had, that little bit, that handful or whatever, and say, see, you can do something.
Right.
Let's use this and try to get the next thing, you know, and try to move forward and push it forward. But you have to celebrate the small wins. And you're only really able to do that if you know that you're doing something purposeful. Right. I think that influencers and leaders should be connected to something, and you are key of this. What you did last year in COVID, Lindsey, was phenomenal. And that you just snapped into action for a need that our community needed, and you extended yourself. And I couldn't do nothing, no matter what turmoil I was undergoing with trying to gather what was happening in the world and all things with social injustices, in addition to the virus itself impacting my family members in New York City. I had to stop what I was doing to make sure I was a part of what you were doing, because it was so needed and necessary. And I will never forget the faces of the little people that I got to see that were able to be blessed by the lunches that you provided. So you did. And I feel like, to be honest, everything that we do, you're a great example of as far as giving in the community. Everything we do should have something like that attached to what we're doing. And I feel like whenever you do that, the increase will come automatically, because you're living in purpose, you're fulfilling purpose, you're really fulfilling a need. And I think that's something that we miss as entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, so that you can make the money, you can expand, you can have financial freedom, but you also feel fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And you feel like, I've done really what I was supposed to do. It's deeper than the money, because a lot of people have money and still miserable. But you want to know that what you're doing has purpose and lives are transformed as a result of what you've done. I really feel like the passion and the purpose should be connected. Yeah. And I feel like the thing that ails us, which I believe is what a passion is, that thing that really bothers us to the point to where we feel like we got to jump in there and do something about it, definitely, I feel like God will bless and make it a stream. And you know what I'm saying? Because somebody has to fill that gap.
Yeah. And I appreciate you, because you came in, you sat back for a second, and you were like, I got this. I got this. We talked, I don't know how long we were on the phone talking about how we can make it better and switch it up. And like, I got some people who can help you, and I'm still connected with those people. Okay. Yeah. I'm still working with All Nations. They came out for Christmas, like, so I appreciate you for the connections, the network, the instructions, the guidance. Like, look, this is how we can make it better. And I'm like, let's make it better. Being an entrepreneur means being open-minded, being available for assistance, like getting that help, because people will be out there and they're willing to help you. Don't be above the help, because that is so important and so necessary. So I could go on and on with you, and you know that I could, but I do want to ask a very important question before we get off, for people to know. Two-part question. 1, are you taking new clients? 2, how can the people reach you?
Yes, I am taking new clients. They can reach me right here at Kiyanni B on Instagram. It's at Kiyanni B on all social media outlets, including YouTube, LinkedIn, and whatever else, Facebook. I am taking new clients. I'm definitely taking in new authors. And the new clients, I do have an option where I can work with them one-on-one, but that option is a little bit more extensive. But the main forefront of the coaching will be the group mentorship program, and kind of like the group business coaching is leadership, life, business, and even spiritual development coaching all in one. So that's what kind of is going to be. If some need extra assistance or support, I'll provide that service to them, and we can take it case by case. But I'm definitely accepting people at this time. And even the Facebook group is free right now. To probably be a good time to jump in before some things shift. And that's called The Demolition on Facebook. Is Human Demolition. And it's also, I believe, in my bio here in Instagram. But new authors, new clients, and for small business, corporate consulting, if you have a small business and you need help with your procedures, your policies, even hiring people for doing kind of office management, project management, operations, business structure, organization, I'll help with that too.
And can you drop that book title?
Oh, the book that everybody's talking about is my very first book. It was called Choose Life, How to Get to Your Next Level and Get Unstuck. And it really does help surround sound. It helps with business. It helps with spiritual development. It helps with coaching. It does kind of all those things in one. And what the reviews have been, not only had it been impacting for them that experienced it, but there was fruit that was produced from it, because I'm adamant on that. I really want the takeaway to have produced something, not just to say, oh, that was good and I got it, but be able to implement what you were given. And it also comes with a self-guided journal and everything else. So what I'll do too, if I see anyone try to purchase it, through this, I'll throw in the digital ebook workbook journal for free for them.
Yes. So y'all heard it. She said it. Get that book. Is definitely a resource that you need to have if you're trying to become an entrepreneur, if you're just looking for guidance in the next steps in your life. Like, Kiyanni is legit. She is definitely for the people. She's out here. She's motivational. She's inspirational. She's all the good things that a good sis should be. And I'm so thankful again for you being in my circle, for you being a part of my life, for you speaking over me. And you were literally the perfect first person for me to have as a guest on Lessons with Lindsey Live. So I appreciate you for responding to my weird hour text message like, hey, girl, you want to be on my show?
I got you. It's an honor, Lindsey, truly. It's an honor.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. You all make sure that you follow Kiyanni. She is on the Club of House. She's on Facebook. Yes. She's on Instagram. She's everywhere you want to be and more. Kiyanni B. Thank you so much, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's live. We will be back next Wednesday. We're going to talk about power intros. So we're going to be going over power intros next week. And tune in next week at 8 o'clock for Lessons with Lindsey Live. Thank you, Kiyanni. I love you, baby.
Love you.
All have a great night, and everyone have a great week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.